And Dr. Postel will also have to consider it moving a little bit further to the right.
Right, and that's a good point, Sarah. A lot of times when you have these supercells, they move to the right a little bit of the background wind flow. The general steering current might be more like that, but this storm, it's rotating and it's going to continue to find the more unstable air, and it's probably going to go more right of that background flow that's going to tend to steer it toward the northeast, so maybe even more east-northeast. And that's kind of the motion that we've seen with this all along, which is classic of a strong supercell. So Kim and Paul, do we have our storm chaser with us?
Let's go north because I'm on the Weather Channel.
Jeffrey Gonzalez, this is Greg Postel of the Weather Channel. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, so what direction are you going? Where are you looking? And how far away from the storm are you?
Right now, we are a mile south of Pilger. We're heading close to the town. We were just there. They weren't letting us through. Town took a direct hit. At one point, we saw 3 tornadoes on the ground, and looks like the town got the worst of it, the town of Pilger, Nebraska. And that should come up here shortly. It looks like there's a lot of traffic all the way back. We're not going to be able to get through, but we are south of the storm right now, trying to get back around.
Yeah, well, stay with us. We'd like to know what you find when you get close to Pilger. And you said you saw 3 tornadoes at once. Did they appear to be like one parent circulation and 2 suction vortices, or were they really distinct tornadoes, almost like there were 2 supercells that were just so close together you couldn't tell them apart?
It actually looked like it was one supercell, but it was a cyclic supercell, so it had numerous mesocyclones, and each mesocyclone had a large cone tornado on the ground.
Right. That is something that I've never seen before in my life, and I've chased a lot. So that is pretty remarkable stuff. And I can tell you right now that the tornado is still on the ground, moving toward the east-northeast, getting very close to Flournoy in Nebraska. And if we can show on the radar scope where this supercell is and where the tornadic circulation is. Sarah, if we can jump to that. There's the hook echo right in here, and the strongest circulation inside of that storm is right in there. And there you go. That's where the strong tornado likely is there, right there. You see the blues and the yellows next to each other. That is the radar motion toward the radar like that, and the radar motion away from the radar like that. And you've got that strong pixel-to-pixel contrast in there. That is what's called a TVS, tornadic vortex signature, and likely a tornado there. There's the town of Flournoy, and that's about where this tornado, which in one form or another has been on the ground for over an hour, that is where it's going.
All right, Dr. Postel, and again, we just want to bring everybody up to date again. We are tracking this supercell moving through northeastern Nebraska that has already produced 3 tornadoes that Jeffrey Gonzalez, the tornado chaser, has spotted out there tonight. And we have several chasers out there following this, and catastrophic damage being reported in some of these towns in Nebraska.
And Pilger, Nebraska, possible multiple injuries as well. I believe we have storm chaser Ben McMillan back with us. And Ben, are you still tracking that one, or is it possibly 2 tornadoes now that you're tracking there in eastern Nebraska?
Ben, can you hear us? All right, we're having trouble with hearing Ben right now. We're going to get him back on the phone as soon as we can.
Yes,
as you can see. Oh, he's here? Ben? Ben? Paul was asking if, you know, what you're seeing. I mean, are you seeing 1, 2, 3 tornadoes? What are you seeing right now?
Well, again, we're out here in eastern Nebraska, and again, they're actually sending the video back via cell technology, so sometimes we can get the picture, but sometimes not the audio. But we might have them back again. So again, we're talking eastern Nebraska, not the best of cell coverage.
That's
so
right.
We definitely want to get the, you know, the technology is taking the video as priority and audio as secondary. So Ben, are you with us?
Looks like they've stopped moving.
Mile and a half to our pavement.
Okay. It's going to be in and out with Ben right now. But what you're looking at right now is a supercell in northeastern Nebraska that has produced possibly up to 3 tornadoes. At one time, we were showing 2 very distinct large tornadoes doing catastrophic damage, especially to the town of Pilger. And right now, this is live near Pender, Nebraska.
We also have our storm specialist, Dr. Greg Postel, with us again, also analyzing and following the situation. Hey, Greg.
Paul, let's have a look at what this looks like on radar. This is still a remarkable situation. The long-lived tornadic supercell ongoing right now across parts of northeastern Nebraska. There's where sort of the hook echo is. You can see the inflow notch right in here. So that's where the air is flowing in and the circulation around that. The RFD is coming in on the rear flank downdraft on the back side of that. And the tornado, if you go to the velocity scope, is somewhere in there. That's about where it is right here. You see those blues and the yellows very close to one another. That is telling us that the air motion is flowing away from the radar right here and flowing toward the radar right there. So that is where the circulation is. That's the strongest part of this mesocyclone, likely where the tornado is. And that's, we think, about where it's going, maybe just a little bit north of that. But Sarah, if you can put on the normalized rotation to give you an idea of where the radar thinks the strongest rotation is, right there to the northwest of Thurston in Nebraska, to the south of Wakefield, Nebraska. And Emerson is off to the northeast. And watch out, Emerson. Take cover now. This storm is moving close to you. We don't know if exactly the worst part of it is going to go right over, but take cover, pretend it is, because this is a very nasty storm. And if you look at the correlation coefficient, let me explain what this is. This is the radar's attempt to determine what kind of particles are falling or being moved around inside the thunderstorm. This stuff over here, the red and all the yellow there, that's likely rain and or hail, but this obvious area in blue, those are likely non-meteorological targets that the radar is picking up, meaning debris. There's likely a debris ball with this. That's that area in blue, right where the strongest turning motion was in the velocity scans. Right in there, guys, right where that arrow is, right in here. So that is a debris ball with this thing. It's picking up, fortunately, I think, trees and other kinds of debris, maybe pavement, parts of the road, who knows, power lines. But there's not a lot of populated area for now that is likely contributing to that debris signature in the correlation coefficient. In other words, the kinds of shapes that the tornado is swirling around.